Match week 5 of the Premier League is done and dusted, and oh boy, was there a lot to talk about. We had predicted rightly that Arsenal, Man City will be one of the big games, and there'll be a lot of things to bring up. And I think we could have done a separate episode just on that game. But we'll be looking at five major talking points over the weekend, and we have to start with City versus Arsenal. 2-2, a last second goal by John Stones. So much controversy, so many issues. Michael Oliver, goals being scored, pushes, shoves, Haaland, Rodri's injury. Rohit, do you want to start off somewhere?
Yeah, let's start like chronologically, right? Haaland getting his 100th goal, I think, right?
Yeah.
He's already on 10 goals for the season. The second closest is Luis Diaz with 5 goals, so he's double. Great move by Savinho and a
Hmm.
great pass into him, and he finished off the chance like, he always does. And at that point of time, to be honest with you, I thought, oh, okay, is City going to run away with this? But things didn't go that way, right?
Right. So, City normally, as you rightly said, would just plow through the opposition, score 3-4. Well, maybe not in first half, but obviously they would control the game. But this is not a normal Arsenal side.
Yeah.
They're stubborn. They won't give up. Arteta has got this. I don't know. It's a Jose Mourinho-esque quality that we will not die down. We will not lie down. And they got a beautiful equalizer by Calafiori, but there is a lot of controversy regarding that. I'll just go into that. So Michael Oliver had called Kyle Walker to explain something to him. Now he's the right back and the City captain, so he went over to Oliver, who's in the midfield. And while he's moving back, Oliver allows Arsenal to take the quick free kick. Walker could not cover his side of the defense, the right side. The ball was cut back to Califury, but you can't take anything away from that finish. I mean, that was a thing
Beautiful
of beauty.
finish.
So there's this beautiful angle of Califury scoring, and you can see that he knows it's going in because even before the ball goes past Edison, Califury is peeling off to celebrate. So I think that's one of the best goals a person could score for like his debut goal for a club. But controversy regarding the goals, Rohit, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Right, the referee should have waited while Kyle Walker was able to go back to his position, especially since he's called him over. So that was a bit of a piece of bad refereeing. The first of many in that
Yeah,
match.
yeah.
Yeah. I think the next thing was probably Arsenal taking the lead, right,
Hmm.
from the
Yeah.
corner. So let's talk about that because this is the second game I think in a row, a big game that they scored from a corner, and Gabriel scored the same scorer as against Tottenham and a very similar kind of well rehearsed routine, right? They have these players making runs to draw away defenders, and then they have these 3 or 4 players crowding around the goalkeeper, not letting him move. And Saka, as usual, beautiful corner in. Gabriel, who was being marked by Kyle Walker, and I don't know if you saw that, Kyle Walker was trying to tickle him
Yeah,
and push him. I don't know what was going on. He did everything apart from mark him because it's
yeah,
hard, right? When somebody as big as Gabriel gets a head start on you. And he jumps the highest in a towering header, and Arsenal are up 2-1, right? So I think that's a very interesting thing about Arsenal this year. They have multiple ways to score. They know the dark arts, right? Even in the previous goal, they took the quick free kick. In this one, they kind of crowded out Ederson. And we were talking about this before the podcast. You thought that was a foul?
I do think it was a foul because you've seen that you'll see in the replay that Havertz slightly nudges him or pushes him or puts
Hmm.
some pressure on Edison. Now I know that goalkeepers are a protected species in the game, and prior to the start of the season, there was a lot of talk about such movements not being allowed in the box.
Hmm.
So you were saying that it is a goal. I don't think it was like a legitimate goal, but that's what the referees gave. It's
Yeah.
not a surprise Arsenal scored like this, and it's not a surprise that Gabriel scored like this because this is how he scores. When
Yeah.
Arsenal take these free kicks or these corners, there is a genuine threat of them scoring. And frankly, it was very bad marking from Walker. I cannot believe
Mhm.
somebody can just allow someone to run off like this when you know that he's a threat. Moving on, more controversy comes when Leandro Trossard gets his second yellow. So the referee
That
blew
was
because I
dumb.
think he nudged the player and then the referee blew. And there was a bit of time before Trossard just smashed the ball away. Now, A lot of people
Hmm.
will say that he kicked the ball away, but I actually do think he was trying to find the player because there is a player in the bottom left that he might have tried to find. And it would be extremely stupid of Trossard to do this because that's the exact thing that Declan Rice was sent off for 2 weeks back. Why would he do that?
Yeah,
So
I think he was definitely not trying to kick it away because I think there was barely like a second and a half. It
mm,
takes some time for players to react, especially in the adrenaline of the game, right? And it's not like he whacked it away. He was generally trying to win the
yeah,
ball. That was a very stupid decision. The only thing you could say is Trossard should have been careful because he was already on a yellow, but I don't think that was a yellow, especially for kicking the ball away. Definitely not. And what do you mean he's trying to, delay? It's like the middle of
no,
the
you
first
can't
half.
delay the
That's
game that
very
much
tough.
nowadays, right? It's not possible because of the multi-ball system and all that. And you can clearly see he's trying to find the player. And
Yeah,
apart from that,
yeah.
as you rightly said, there was actually a delay. It takes time for somebody to realize that the game has stopped and the referee has blown a whistle. So Michael Oliver might have been a little too triggered happy with that card. I don't know what is going on. And then in the second half, it was something I never thought I'd see. Uh, this was like a training match, like a training session.
Hmm.
Two blocks. It was almost a 6-3 at times. It was a 7-2 sometimes, but 6-3 was something I was seeing a lot of times. And City were just doing side passes, the side passes, and the side pass. Without Kevin De Bruyne, there is nothing that City have to offer. Like there was not one decent cross going into the box. Obviously, Gabriel and Saliba and Ben White and Timber, they're really good in the air. But surely when you have somebody like Haaland, you need to find him, and City were just unable to do that.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway that I saw from there was I think Ruben Diaz had the most number of touches or something, and their playmakers at one point of time basically became Akanji and Ruben Diaz, right, and Guardiol, right, and no matter how good they are on the ball as defenders, they are not a playmaker, right, so they can't really find the killer pass, and I think Rodri going off injured in the
Hmm.
first half probably had something to do with it because. Kovacic, he's good on the dribble, but he doesn't really have that great of an
So
eye for a pass
just cutting in,
or
we just got breaking news. Rodri's
uh-huh.
ACL has been confirmed. He is
Oh
out.
man.
Yeah. So
Okay.
that's
That
yeah,
changes things.
that
I
changes a lot
think
of things.
yeah, that on top of the fact that the spirited and the hard performance that Arsenal put in, that bodes well for them, right? They can
Yeah.
really dig in deep and fight in the trenches. So I still stand with my prediction of Arsenal winning the league this year, especially when they get Odegaard back, Mikel Merino, and all of these guys back. I think they'll do pretty well.
Yeah, yeah. So I think we both said that Arsenal have the best chance of winning the Premier League this time around. And with Rodri being out, that's a major, major blow to Man City. Uh, we'll talk about that final goal. So I don't think, at least I didn't expect City to score, given how
Mhm.
resilient Arsenal were at the back and how great they were. But 7 minutes of added on time. This Jack Grealish made this amazing cut in, and then he pulls the ball back. I don't know who took the shot, goes into a crowd of players, and John Stones is there, right man at the right spot. But
Yeah.
David Raya almost saved that also. So it
Yep.
was
Yep. Yep.
almost a save, but it is what it is. And Haaland had this cheeky bit of taking the ball out of the net and smacking it on Saliba's head or
Yeah.
something like that. There's this other
I
clip
mean,
of Haaland.
that should have gotten some disciplinary action, even retroactively, right? You can't just do that. You can't take a ball and like smack somebody in the head with it. That's
Uh,
stupid.
so that's the point that we'll cover. We'll talk about now. So there was also this part of Haaland telling Arteta to, what was it? Pay respect, take it calm. I don't remember. I don't remember the thing. There was this clip of
Yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then he's basically shoving Jesus off and all that. But the bigger point, and this is something we need to discuss at this point also, is Michael Oliver's performance. This is not the
Pretty
first
horrible
time.
refereeing.
Yeah, this is not the first time he's come under the scanner. We remember last season how he forgot to send off Kovacic for two terrible
Hmm.
challenges. I mean, one of them, I think both of them could have been reds on a day. This time around, I don't know, he just can't control a big match. He's supposed to be England's best referee. But given what we've seen this season, last season, the standard of refereeing is terrible in the
Yeah.
Premier League. I think this is also coming into the second talking point of this show. We've seen Lisandro Martinez uh, jump literally two
I don't
like
know what
that's
that
the
was.
definition of a red card. He jumps, he's out of control, and the referee gives a yellow, and there's no VAR intervention. There was this other match where both the managers were sent off for something, and then Michael Oliver does this. I mean, uh,
Yeah.
where do
I
we
think
go?
that was definitely Lisandro Martinez's challenge was definitely an orange card, right? I think the only
It's
thing that
red.
went
There's no
for him.
orange. So
I,
you
I,
don't
I
have to
agree. I
make.
think the only thing is, the opposition player didn't really get injured because he pulled out, right? If
No,
he
so
didn't,
that's the
yeah,
point. You don't. There has to be intent. If the intent is there, you don't have to make contact with the player. So I do
yeah,
not
true.
understand what these referees are seeing. I haven't refereed a game in my life, but I know from the rules this is a red card. And
Yeah,
when it goes to Oliver, I don't know what he does, or I don't know where his head is at times. Because, you know, you can say something like this happening in the fourth division because this is, an amateur referee. Maybe in
yeah,
the Sunday league matches, it's an amateur referee. He got, there was pressure on him. These are professionals who are trained under FIFA, under UEFA. They have years of experience and they're making such mistakes. I mean, it's terrible. And we've said this time and time again. How does this keep on happening to English referees? I'm not saying that it doesn't happen in Spain or Italy or France, but the usage of VAR in those countries is far better than what we have over here. And again, I'm telling you, there's a guarantee that next year there'll be a complete different set of rules from VAR. Now
Mhm.
they don't want to intervene or re-referee games, which was something they did 3 years back. Then they changed it last year. Again, changing. It's a terrible, terrible precedent of sorry, it's a terrible, terrible show of what happens here. Like I really don't know what we can do to make refereeing better.
Yeah, I think just to kind of take the blame away from the individuals, right? Because of course there were so many errors across the board, and refereeing, we've talked about it, is a tough job. I think there's something systemically wrong, like you're alluding to, right? They're either not being trained properly, or they're not getting the right directives from the FA, or I don't know what kind of post-match evaluations they have, whether they're giving them the right feedback, whether they actually know, hey, this is what you did wrong, let's learn from it and let's not do it the next time because it's the same problem again and again.
So what they need are Indian teachers, like slapping them and teaching them this is wrong, this is wrong. What they get actually is like, no, no, this is fine, it's all right. So these are just some
No, man.
stats that we pulled out. Thanks to Who Scored that Michael Oliver had sent off 6 gunner players in his career, the maximum ever. Now it's 7. And this is the really interesting one. So before this match, Manchester City had a win ratio of 76% whenever Oliver was officiating their games, whereas Arsenal had a win ratio of just 44% whenever he was
Hmm.
officiating their games. Maybe there's something to it. I don't know. But yeah, there is something terribly wrong with the refereeing in this country, and I don't know how they're going to fix it. Moving on, we'll talk to something a little more positive, and that's Luis Diaz's resurgence under Arne Slot. Last season, he scored 8 Premier League goals throughout the entire campaign. This season, he already has 5.
Five,
So,
yeah.
yeah, so he's second, as you rightly said, to Haaland in the top scoring charts. I don't think he's going to catch Haaland, but that's a different story. So, yeah, Luis Diaz looks like a completely different player. I know there was a lot of talk about him leaving in the summer, going to maybe Barcelona, maybe even selling him to some club so that we can get Anthony Gordon, but he's really shut up a lot of the critics. And
Hmm.
some may be justified because last season he got into some really good positions and really made a mess of the finishing. But this season he looks completely different. And I think that's down to Arne Slot because we are seeing a lot of players perform way better than we expected, like Ryan Gravenberg.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think that's the main job of a coach, right? To come and improve your players. You already have like somebody as talented as Luis Diaz. Maybe he had some, issues with finishing, and that's been worked on both by Diaz and obviously by Schlott. And I think he's doing the job really well. It shows in the performance of your team. It shows in your league table position. I think you guys did strike gold with your coach, I think.
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next because there's this talk about Trent coming out and saying that, I want to be captain at Liverpool. He said that I just want to be I can talk about being a Liverpool player just this season. He hasn't talked about the future. He's spoken about contract extensions. But one thing he did say is that he really likes playing under someone like Slot who can explain to him and improve him as a player. I think that
Mm.
bodes well for him. I think it bodes well for us that, as you rightly said, we got a coach now. He's not a manager, he's a
Yeah.
coach. He's actually extracting the best out of the players.
Mhm.
And we'll have to see how this goes. Nunes scored a brilliant goal also. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Lovely
don't
goal.
know. I don't know if Slot had something to do with that. but I hope he did. And then moving on, we need to talk about Chelsea. Enzo
Mhm.
Maresca is clicking. West Ham were dire, let's be honest, but you can only beat what's in front of you. Chelsea were really,
Mhm.
really good against West Ham, and Nicolas Jackson looks amazing. I know you said last season that he gets into good
Yeah.
positions, he just needs to finish.
Yeah.
He's doing that this season. Him and Palmer have this amazing connection. I think they're the highest number of assists to each other since the start of last season. So go ahead,
Yeah.
tell me about Maresca's magic.
Yeah, I think, the main takeaway from that match was obviously Nicolas Jackson, 2 goals and 1 assist, right? And Jackson has some really interesting attributes as a center forward, right? Because I think he started off as a winger at one point of time, so he is really quick and he's pretty skillful. He knows how to manipulate the ball. The only problem that he had last season was finishing off some of the high XG chances. But the fact that again and again he was getting those high XG chances meant that he's also really good in terms of making runs and making space for himself. And we saw that in the match against West Ham. West Ham were poor, but Chelsea really tore them apart for the 3 goals that we scored, especially the second goal. It was a beautiful move out from the back, cutting through ball from Caicedo and a brilliant run from Nicolas Jackson. And what was interesting about that was that finish from Nicolas Jackson
Oh
for
yeah.
his second goal. Outside of the foot finish, right, against Areola, who's a really good shot stopper. So that goes to show that his confidence is back, right? Because if you miss a lot of chances, your confidence goes down. So the fact that he's able to score those kind of goals means his confidence is back. The other thing I liked about the performance against West Ham was it was interesting. It was not exactly the cut and dry Maresca system that we've heard of all this while, and we've talked about it. It was flexible because we didn't always do the high press and try to win the ball back. We were kind of on a mid block, and we were trying to pick off the ball, and we basically hit them on the counter on 2 of the goals, right? Especially the last one, which Palmer scored and Nicolas Jackson set up. So, before the game, I was a little skeptical because, we still need time, but it was a really good performance. You have to give the entire team and the manager kudos for that. Let's see how we keep performing. I think next week we have a tough game against Brighton.
So just a bit more of stats. Enzo Maresca is the first manager to win each of his first three away Premier League games since Pep
Mhm.
Guardiola in September 2016. Another bit.
Yeah.
Chelsea have won 5 consecutive away top flight matches for the first time since December 21, which was under Thomas Tuchel. So Maresca
Wow.
might be finding the magic outside of Stamford Bridge. We'll need to see.
Hmm.
And I think the final talking point we wanted to bring out is the performances of 2 or 3 players. Erling Haaland, as you
Hmm.
rightly said, his 100th goal for Manchester City. I think he scored it in just 107 appearances, right? 105
Yeah.
appearances. Insane. That's crazy. That's crazy. The other 100 we wanted to talk about was Trent's assist to Luis Diaz. So this is now Trent's 100th goal contribution. So he's had 81 assists for Liverpool and now 19 goals, which is again an insane number given that he's a right back. And we've, shared a lot of plaudits for these 2 players over the years, not just us, but obviously everywhere around the world. But we also need to talk about one player that you have been talking about for a long time, and that's Jhon Duran, who isn't a Chelsea player, but he should have been. I don't know. He scored again the weekend. Your
Yeah.
curse did not work. We were thinking
No.
he's going to blank, but he scored. So now Jhon Duran has scored 9 goals in 719 minutes in the Premier League.
Yep.
Only Erling Haaland has a better minutes per goal average. I
Hmm.
don't know. This is incredible. So John Duran doesn't start for Villa. He comes off the
No.
bench
No.
and he will score. It's a
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
guarantee. So I think I think he's set for a big move for sure. But do you actually see him
Yeah.
fitting into Chelsea again because Nicolas Jackson is doing so well?
Yeah, Nicolas Jackson is doing well, but they're different kind of profiles, right? John Duran, he's really good in the air, which Nicolas Jackson is not. And John Duran also has a great shot from distance that we saw in the last week, last week's match where he scored that stunning goal. So in a way, they have very complementary kind of skills. Nicolas Jackson is better at kind of dribbling, stretching the defense, running the channels. So anyway, this is all pipe dream, right? He doesn't play for Chelsea, and I don't think Chelsea will end up signing him because this season they really tried hard. They tried looking into him, but I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. They pulled out. There were some rumors about his wage demands. There were some rumors about some discipline issues. We don't really know, but he will definitely get a big move. And I don't really know. Like Aston Villa are a pretty big team now. Maybe they'll give him a raise, and if they continue playing well, they're in the top four again, and
Yeah.
it looks like they are on course for maintaining a top four finish. They're in the Champions League, and then having Ollie Watkins and John Duran, that bodes well for them. Maybe he stays in Aston Villa, because maybe Aston Villa says, give me £100 million for him at the end of the season if he ends up with like 20 goals or something.
I think you've hit the nail on the head there because I was just going to bring up how good Villa have been this season. They're in the top four. They're just behind Liverpool on goal difference. That's it. And yeah, if they get another top four, they do well in the Champions League. And their manager, Unai Emery, is somebody who knows how to win stuff.
Mhm.
He knows how to win trophies. So there is a possibility that he stays. Maybe they'll attract even better players and make the project better. So I don't
Yeah.
think I don't think it's so easy to say that he's off unless somebody decides to pay, as you said, crazy money. So
Mhm.
we'll have to keep an eye on John Duran, but this could be like the talking point of the season more than anything else. I just wanted to end this week's show regarding the review of the Premier League with another uh, very, very interesting off the Joe stat. I had to bring this up because it's Arsenal. So neither Julian Timber nor Kai Havertz completed any of the passes for Arsenal against Man City. The first
Wow.
outfield the first outfield players on record from 2003 or 4 to play 89 plus minutes of a Premier League
Yeah.
match and not successfully pass to a teammate. Timber had 6 passes, Havertz has 5, and they could not find a single pass. But then,
Wow.
how could they find someone? Because they're playing a 6-3. Who are they going to pass to? They would get the ball and just
Yeah.
smack it away and hope something happens.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
this
I
terror ball
think
from.
Timber at least had a good game in the
Yeah,
defense.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know about Havertz. Havertz tends to do that. He tends to have hot and cold phases, right? That's
No,
one of the
so
reasons why Chelsea sold him.
but then, how could they really do anything? Because I don't know what this. Sometimes Arteta does is that he goes into this siege mentality, and everybody's behind the
Yeah.
ball. You can't do anything, and then in the second half, basically, I think they were like 10 yards just in front of this penalty box. So what are they going to
Yeah.
do? So,
Agreed.
so this was the stat I wanted to end the show with. Again, thanks to everyone who listens to us. Please like, subscribe, and share our content. Do let us know what you thought about Manchester City versus Arsenal. Where
Hmm.
did you like Arsenal's playing style? I don't know. It's terror ball from Arteta. People have been calling him haram ball, and we'll see how things happen next week. But until then, take care, stay safe, and bye bye.
Bye bye.